Hello everyone, Memory here. In short, currently I would consider all these nodes just outside of Port Epheria as T2 nodes, which extend a bit further northeast to somewhere above Ovia. And also, these two fish nodes on Pujara Island just east of Ilia Island are T2 node as well. Obviously, there are a few ifs, buts and conditions and stuff like that, which you might want to know. But if you are in a hurry to catch a bus, or if your boss is knocking on the door, that is your quick take-home answer. So let's start the video. First, my data is most likely to be not 100% correct because of the price changes, and the fact that each of these nodes takes around 1.5 hours to complete one run with an artisan goblin worker. Now, what that does mean to you is if you are someone who doesn't have a decent amount of energy pool and also doesn't have many old characters as energy batteries to roll for artisan goblins, you are going to question your purpose of existence while trying to level and promote your workers. Although I already do that every day. Artisan goblin workers are the fastest worker you can currently get, and they will still take about 2 hours to complete one run if they are level 1. Training professional goblin workers using these nodes will take you about 3 times longer than your typical nodes. The key word is goblin. Anything else doesn't exist for the purpose of this video. So yeah, the entry condition is not exactly newbie friendly, even though they are actually decent nodes. If you don't have enough CP, you should grab all the T1 and T2 nodes on my other videos before you even consider grabbing any of these. It took me about a month with Kama Sylvia Blessing and 8 old characters dedicated all their energy on rolling workers just to get these 8 artisan goblins. I think I was a bit unlucky, but that's what happened. After that, it took me 3 more months just to have most of them above level 28. And then it took me another 2 months or so to gather my data. And since there are only 8 of them and each of them takes about 1.5 hours to complete, I'm not gonna sit around every hour just to record them. So what I did was I leave them for about a week and then send all the fish to Odraxia because that is the most empty storage I have that can access the marketplace. And each time I send them over, I can see the current marketplace asset value difference before and after I hit the send button. With that information, I can do some quick math with them, and it turns out that the average silver per node is about 600k to 900k a day. To give you perspective, a typical fur timber node gives you about 1.5 million a day, which is considered as a T1 node. So based on that, I was gonna just say they are all T2 nodes and then like and subscribe. Hopefully you enjoyed. End of the video. But no, I do feel it's a bit complicated than that, so I dig a little bit deeper. First, I want to mention that every one of these nodes gives you 4 different fishes. The top one sells for the least amount of silver and the bottom one sells for the most. But it is the top 2 or 3 that gives you most of the silver. For example, some fish are worth about 14k each, and you might only get like 40 of them in a week. But for the more common fishes, even though it only sells for 3k each, you can get like 800 plus within the same time frame. And if you do the math, the cheaper fish is actually the ones that gives you most of the money. Not to mention that some of the bottom fishes are not even the high priced fish. There are roughly 3 levels of fish, or at least that's how I classify them as a reference. One sells for 3k, one sells for 6k, and one sells for 14k. It's only a rough estimate, like if something sells for 10k or above, I classify it as a 14k fish. What you're looking for in a fishing node is the bottom fish has to be a 14k fish, and one of the middle 2 has to be a 6k or above. That's your baseline. Anything that doesn't meet either one of these conditions, you should just drop it. However, be aware that the price can change drastically. And the reason for the price change is as mysterious as why the number on my bank account never increases. Holy shit. So again, my rating on this video is definitely gonna be changed more or less because of the price changes. So you should use it as an example to judge the tiers of these nodes for yourself, if you have the time and can be bothered. But I know most of you watching this video probably just curious to see what my rating is. And also looking up the prices for these fishes can be quite annoying because you can't just point at them and see the price. You gotta keep exit out the map and search on the market and come back in. So for your quick reference, here is what I ended up having. First, let's start at the Port Epheria area. We have the Beza Island. It is a 3-3-18-14 setup. Definitely above our baseline, so this is a high T2 for me. Yes, the 18k fish. Well, it's not a fish, it's octopus, which belongs to the cephalopod class, so maybe they should be called seafood nodes. Anyways, for some reason, octopus is selling at almost the max price at the time of recording, which is the main reason why this node is a good node to get. And it does have the potential to become a T1 node if any of the other fishes rise in price. Next up, Drying Yard 1 on Renders Island. It's a 3-6-6-18 and the 18 is the octopus. Again, I don't know why it's high priced, it has been cheap before in my memory. So check on the price every so often to see if there are any price changes, but at this point, it is on the same level as the previous one, a high T2. And then we have the Circa Island, a 3-3-6-14 setup. Sitting right on our baseline, a solid T2. You probably would have this one because this is the closest fishing node to Port Epheria. It's the cheapest dry fish node there is, a decent node itself, might as well get it, even though it's sitting on our baseline. After that, we're gonna stretch a little bit further to Albressa Island. Skipping over Beretta Island because both nodes there are T3 or below at the time of recording. For Albressa Island, we have a 3-6-6-18 setup. We have the octopus at the last spot again, which is great. But the main reason why this one is good is because it has two 6k fishes in the middle two spots. So definitely a high T2 or even a low T1 at the moment. Next one down, we have the Drying Yard number 1 on Starin Island. This is a 3-3-6-14, which does look like the weaker node on the list because it is on our baseline, and it is kinda far from town. But I still had it because this checkerboard RAS was actually on the 14k level instead of 6k. And after a price drop, it still looks okay to me, so even though I took it out for another node on the list, which I will get to a bit later, I still put this node on the list. And then we have the Low Roof Island, which is in a similar price drop situation as the previous island. Except it was a 3-6-14-14 node. And after the price drop, it becomes 3-6-6-14. Which is still considered as fairly good. And this node is the reason why we even come this far spending a little bit of extra CP in the first place. Otherwise, we probably would stop at Albressa Island and took the other weaker nodes. Because even if they are 3-3-3-14 for example, they will still give us a similar amount of silver per CP compared to a 3-3-6-14 and it's further from town. If you are short of CP, you definitely should just get all the double fish nodes close to Port Epheria and not worrying about the actual profit, because the chances are you will still be leveling your workers, and the closer nodes will level your worker faster. And by the time they are level 30, you will definitely have enough CP to get more nodes to min-max like me. Lastly, in this area, I want to mention that at the time of recording, I actually got one more node that is even further. I swapped out the node on Starin Island for the Liz Island. The Drying Yard number 1 on Liz Island is a 3-6-6-14 setup, which is better than the 3-3-6-14 on Starin Island mentioned earlier. And since I do have level 30 goblins, I figure it is worth for me to go a bit further for this node, so I got it. And of course, let's not forget about the Ilia Island fish nodes. There are only 2 nodes that I'd recommend anyone getting, because for you pay-to-win players like myself, there is no extra pay-to-win lodging on Ilia Island for you to buy currently. And there are not exactly many lodging houses to buy either, so the maximum amount of worker you can have on Ilia Island is 3. And the third lodging is very CP inefficient, so we just took the 2 nodes that are closest to Ilia Island, that are also decent, which conveniently happens to be both of the drying yard on Pujara Island. Drying yard number 1 is 36614 and drying yard 2 is 33614. Not exactly too bad considering they are as CP efficient as you can get. So yeah, that's all I have for the fishing node information at the moment. If you have anything else to add, or if I stuff up again somehow, comment down below and be gentle. Anyways, and that's it for today. Subscribe if it helped, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.